Okay, here we are in front of the John Jay Criminal Justice Building, and the Left Forum are going to do their thing here, and we're against the Left Forum doing their thing here because this should be everything that the Left Forum is against. The Left Forum should not be doing their thing here. The criminal justice system in America is a slavery system. It's racist, and judges make money for every conviction. Prosecutors make money for every conviction. So there's no chance for a fair trial of anybody, especially the poor in this country. This criminal justice system is training new people to be slave masters. And the Left Forum should not be doing their show here. The Left Forum should be picketing this place and boycotting this place because it's against everything that the Left Forum should be standing for. You know, it's time for change in America. Our court systems are criminal operations. They're commercial operations. They're not about justice. And we have corporate prisons in the United States, and the corporate prisons need to be fed. And that's what our court systems are for. And they're training young people to fill these positions to keep the slave market going. It's time for a big change, and the Left Forum is not going for change. They're catering to the corporate interests that are enslaving the youth of our country. All our courts are commercial courts, and they're about making money. They're about enslaving. They're about picking the pockets of the American people. Our landlord-tenant courts are there to protect the landlord's interests, to protect the banking interests. They're not there to see that justice is done. 14.5 million homes have been foreclosed by the bank fraud, while our government bailed them out for $32 trillion. It's time for this injustice in America to stop, and this is the John Jay College of Criminal Injustice, and it's time for this to stop, and the Left Forum should not be here. That's what I've got to say about that.
One of the topics that I like to go into at great depth is the topic of mass incarceration. What does it mean when a population is foreclosed on, made into vagrants, wandering around, and then till finally people have laws for being locked up for being homeless, the crime of being homeless? Joe and I believe that the best way to fight the bank fraud is with education, understanding what law is, and understanding what exactly the banks have done. In order to understand what the banks have done, you have to understand the criminal justice system. So what you have here behind me is an example of the right to remain silent versus across the street, little tiny Manhattan Neighborhood Network, which really should be the larger party, is got the right of free speech. Now, the importance of free speech is that you can express what's going on in a case and that you can be heard with equal protection and due process. That's why you want to be tried by a jury of your peers. You don't want to be bullied into contract by law enforcement or by judges who are not operating impartially, but they're operating at the beck and call of special interests, including the county recorder who's changing the deeds and so on. Now, most of this isn't understood by your average policeman, and when you think of one of these colleges of criminal justice, the College of Criminal Justice is turning out policemen. Policemen enforce the law, the judges judge the law, and the legislature makes the law. But no law that's made can dominate the Constitution. So if a law violates constitutionally protected rights, it's null and void. Now, if the Republican Party or some conservative operation was having a big forum in this massive structure, Joe doesn't want to sweep the camera around because we don't want to lose the audio signal. But trust me, this John Jay College of Criminal Justice probably is 50 times bigger than Manhattan Neighborhood Network across the street. And this is a really sorry state of affairs for free speech in this country, which is probably the greatest protection against a police state. Now, the problem with the police state is not policemen, and it's not policemen that learn the law and go by due process. The problem is when the policemen don't go by law and due process, but they're going by special interests telling them to use bully, force, and power. And that's what you don't want to see in the courts, and that's why the courts always say that they go by due process and equal protection. Because statutes and different corporate law, different sub-laws can be worked back to the Constitution where you can have your free speech. The right to remain silent means that whatever you say can and will be held against you. But there's also something, silence by acquiescence. If you don't speak up in a timely way at the right time, you're going to find that your silence has consented to things that you perhaps would not want to have consented to. Everyone that's in prison today is there by consent, but they don't understand the law and they don't understand how they got there, and the American bar is not talking about it. Again, the Left Forum is having, maybe 1,000 presenters over a weekend in this massive, massive structure. Had this been the Republican Party or a conservative group, everybody would say, oh, aha, look at the conservatives are lining up with the police. Joe and I are for due process. Joe and I are for law. We're not against the police. We're not against judges and clerks who do the right thing. But what we're saying is really pay attention. The Left Forum is not even hiding its association and its affiliation with the John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Otherwise, they would find a structure that was more neutral. So Webster Tarpley used to tell me that it's really at the time of a liberal and more democratic, he avoids the word democracy, but it's at a time of a more liberal regime that you see a rising police state. And again, Joe and I are not against policemen, but you only need so many people to enforce the law. When you start running around and making laws for the sake of feeding a massive industry that culminates in mass incarceration, and you see that the left media is not reporting it, then it's time to pay attention to say, don't we need a left meets right forum? And if we have a left meets right forum, and we can understand the nature of the fraud that's been perpetrated upon the people of America, that's been bolstered up by a bought and paid for media, if we can address that, then we can bring the left and the right together, and we can regain our full power. So this is Paula Gloria reporting on our position, me and Joe Barton, on why the Left Forum is presenting at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice, and to pay attention to the architecture, because the architecture and the massiveness of the architecture really speaks where the funding is going. And do we want the funding to be building up a police state or a state of music and art and culture, and certainly due process in the courts? Thank you for holding the camera for me, Joe. This is Paula Gloria, over and out.
Ransom versus Duke.
And what's it about?
It's about when people lie in court. Grand jury testimony, anything. You would look up grand jury and perjury. You look up perjury and grand
It's
jury.
usually hard to find that grand jury's decision.
No, you don't find grand jury decision. You look under the key code.
No, but I mean, as far as lying, how do you know whether they lie if you don't even know what happened? And it seems their grand juries are kind of fake. Is that right, Joe?
Ransom versus Duke was a court case.
Was a federal court
Was a
case.
federal court case where they proved someone lied.
Exactly.
In a grand jury or where?
No, in a federal court case.
Exactly. They used it in Massachusetts. They used it in Massachusetts to get somebody out of jail.
Can you tell me what you just told me? I was just shocked.
I'm at George Daly House, 269 East 4th Street. There is no public access television there. They do not have access to this woman's show every day at 12 o'clock. They have nothing that is informative. DHS has cut down so you get no information whatsoever.
Well, do you get other TV shows?
Yeah, we get the regular commercial crap.
But the whole
nothing-
point of public access is.
Live. We get the mainstream media live.
That's it.
But you're supposed to get. Oh, really?
Yeah, that's it. But they don't give
Because
us
the whole
anything
point of public access is to unite everybody so that the community knows each other. That's the
that.
safe.
Yeah,
You know
we know
that.
that, but they don't give us any. They play us like we're so stupid that we don't know that that is their job to give us a public access television, but they act like we don't have any intelligence. We just go along with them, and I'm not going along with them because these people are not doing a damn thing for it, and they're getting $3,500 a month because of Barack Obama and the rest of these lying politicians that's getting $4,000 with an extra $1,000 for people with medical situations, but they can't give us public access television.
Oh my God! Did you hear what he said?
No, I didn't hear it. I just got here. How you doing? I'm Joe.
Oh, glad to meet you.
Can you tell my husband what you just told me?
Oh yeah, I'm in George Daly House, and they have no public access television. We do not get public access television. All they have is the commercial channels. You know, and that to me is a total disrespect of common sense.
Yeah.
Then these people are getting $3,500 a month, and we can't even get cable television? That's ridiculous.
Now, who's getting $3,500 a month?
The feds is paying the city $3,500 per month per person in the shelter
The
system.
biggest line item in New York is the home.
You know, and why are they getting $3,500
DHS
a month?
budget, which is
and
nearly
we
$1
don't get
billion.
no decent food. We get crap food. We get crap accommodations. The beds are garbage. The food is garbage, and the people that are supposedly helping us have less knowledge than I do. So how are you going to help me? You got less knowledge than I have.
That's exactly why I got out of the shelter. That's exactly why I got out. I mean, it was either that or fuck with their funding.
Yeah.
Because I would screw with their funding. I say, why are you getting $3,500 a month and I'm not getting this? I'm not even getting decent houses. Oh no! All I need is 3 people for a class action suit. You see? It's 3 people for a class action suit. I
have a case with the Commission on Human Rights right now about the situation in New York and how they've been jerking me around, just bouncing me from shelter to shelter because I'm a diabetic, I'm lactose intolerant, I can't eat the food, but they bouncing me from shelter to shelter. And that to me is not beneficial to me. But they won't give me any housing. You understand? I'm on Social Security. I don't get enough to live on with that. And dealing with these fools, you don't get anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you are basically caught between a rock and a hard place.
Exactly, yeah.
Watch it.
You seem to really be very educated about this. What do you think is the solution?
The solution? We need to get rid of DHS.
Yeah, the DHS needs to go.
DHS needs to be
There are some
disbanded.
reform steps we
Explain
can take.
DHS for viewers. who
Department of
just tuned
Homeless
in.
Services. They need to be disbanded.
They need to be done away with.
Totally.
But it needs to start with having rental subsidies for people that are adequate. Like the new administration is only talking about 570 new rental subsidies after they gutted the Advantage program. We have that problem. We have a certain percentage should be going into fixing these homeless buildings. You know, like they should be diverting funds to give people permanent housing, and they shouldn't be warehousing 20,000 kids.
Oh, you got it?
Look, I wanted to bring it up because we were talking about being on your show. I was on this show for an hour, and I'm not even allowed to watch it. You know, I'm a public citizen, but I was on.
Just slower. I want to get it. It says.
Yeah, see, it's an
Manhattan
MNN.
News.
Yeah,
I
MNN.
Occupy Wall Street.
Yeah, but I can't even see it.
You were on the show and you can't see the very show that you were
No.
on? That's not public access.
No, it's not.
There's a
Excuse me,
swindle-
how you?
I'm good.
Go.
This is Joe Barton with Pot Talk, and we're talking to people about the shelters and the problems in the shelters. and how they give $3,500 to the shelter, which inadequately takes care of people, when they should be giving the $3,500 to the people.
Exactly.
Now,
They should be renovating all these empty buildings. We did a count of the buildings, you know, like we didn't manage to get every place, but we found 199,000 empty spaces, and there's 60,000 people in the shelters.
Hey,
why aren't these
throw
being
some in.
renovated? Why do we have empty lots? Why do we have empty buildings? Because the banks are banking on vacancies, because they're trying to they hang on to the properties in order to gentrify instead of caring about the people that are living in the street. There's two issues. One is the compassion towards people who have a human right to housing, and two, it's just economically unviable to keep the DHS spinning out of control. But if you're a landlord, right, it makes more sense than running a slum building to throw everybody out and put them in there in shelters, because you can take a bedroom and put 4 people in it, right, instead of 1. Like, you get $37 a night if you're renting to somebody, but if you're with the if you're using DHS funding to stick people in your building, you're getting $137 plus a night. $137 for these rotten little beds. And one of the problems I think that this should be mentioned is that all 3 of the papers, the Times, the Daily News, and the Post, they only print about poverty when they show you how to make money off it. Mm-hmm. They don't write on our side.
No, They don't write anything that's logical either. Everything that they're writing about is pure banking information for the banks. The banks, how to rob the people. That's what the banks are doing. Because basically the banks need to be disbanded. All the banks. You understand? Because the banks in themselves are thieves. And so are the rest of the politicians that go along with them, because they're paying the politicians. They're bought and bossed. That's what's happening. They do not deal with real issues.
I want to just bring it up to date, because now that the mayor came out with his long-awaited housing program, it's nothing but smoke and mirrors.
That's all it is.
It's completely vague. All he's come up with is these 570 rent subsidies for 60,000 people. Other than that, there's not a practical thing in it that actually solves the problem.
How about anything realistic?
This is the only city with growing homelessness.
you didn't get a ticket.
No, I was walking with her. Next, time out. Yo.
Yeah, we've been.
There they are. Yeah, just park right over here.
Getting rid of the medicine. Gotta fit that in there. Gabe's hauling and demolition.
You're a YouTube star! You're on watch. You're on watch. Citizens watch.
Careful, no threats, bud.
I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you we're watching you, buddy. Don't threaten me. I'm telling you we're watching you. We see your game. We know you're crooked. That's the city planning guy. Yeah, he's a badass. He's a fucking traitor.
Because you're getting paid by the county.
Because you guys are going to be shut down. You ain't got the money to take. We don't have the money to pay for your salary. So you guys take federal money. You guys are sellout traitors to democracy, to the United States. Scum.
They showed
The
up
fact
with a
this
Bobcat,
country's going
man.
down. We don't have the money to pay for you guys to go out here and
They wouldn't
enforce
let me back there
medical
to fucking
marijuana,
watch,
which we all
but
voted
they're
for. Go get a real fucking job.
Stealing, stacking pallets and taking them out of here. Dirt and all.
Oh, no water.
And title this, The Man Who Steals Medicine from Babies. I'm gonna have you plastered all over this county, sir. Everybody's gonna know who's out there stealing medicine from babies.
Hey, gotta make money, huh? Gotta make a paycheck. Single one of these sites that you're busting, we're setting up a Facebook page and we're going to be right there videotaping all your guys' corrupt activities. And you guys are going to be going to court and we're going to have video footage of it all. And you guys will all be fucking held responsible.
It's not only a direct violation against Prop 215, which states that patients cannot be prosecuted,
I guess they got here around 9.
or sanctioned. It is theft.
Picked them right up on the forklift.
And you're stealing from a 2-year-old child, you bully!
All the orange buckets, every little thing they can put their hands on.
Okay, Mommy.
And they're still here right now.
To be replaced because it had to be specially formulated to keep its THC down for it.
You guys are going to be sued. You're just wasting county money. You're going to be sued.
You have a child?
You
have a child?
You did this? You know the county's going to be sued? You know how much money we're wasting on this? And how much money, federal grant money that you're wasting? All of our money as America's imploding? Do you feel ashamed of yourself? Huh?
Do you have a child,
You're
sir?
ashamed of yourself. You don't care
I'm
about
curious.
The future of this
Would
country?
you,
Do you care about the future of this
if your
country?
child was going to die, if it was terminal with cancer, would you treat that child to save its life? And how would you feel if someone came and stole your child's medicine? His medicine cannot be easily replaced. He's brought it down over years to bring it down to a low THC
You won't
level
have
to
a
treat
job
children.
if he's not doing this for the federal money, grant money. You won't have a job. Fact is, you shouldn't even be here right now. We don't have the money to support you. You're as fucking nothing, man. This isn't fucking Nazi Germany.
They're gonna be up here all day.
All black like that?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Like they're Secret Service members and
Yeah,
stuff?
the windows all tinted.
I'm somebody special. The federal government gives me money.
Do you realize a 2-year-old child relies on that medicine? May I have your badge line number, sir? If you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't have me come up and give me your badge number. I'm a citizen that pays your salary.
He pays his own salaries.
So he works for free. Right.
Ooh, he came back and said something smart here.
These are the people that are taking away our medicine.
tell us what happened here today.
All right, so this morning I was sitting out in my tent, and at around 9, a convoy of cars rolled down the road here and parked all up here in front of the gate and down the street, and it comes to be they're all police cars and privately owned police trucks of the sheriffs in these towns, and so they roll up onto the property at gunpoint. Everybody's got guns drawn. I'm out in my tent. They pull everyone out from inside, James, Logan, and Jacob, sit them all down. Their guns were all out. I was in my tent, get pulled out of my tent at gunpoint, cuffed immediately, brought out to the front of the house, and then cops are all up in the house going through stuff.
Did they take everyone else to jail?
It took a while for everyone to get taken away. We sat out front, cuffed for at least an hour, maybe 2 hours. James got taken and set in the back of a police cruiser. And then the police questioned Logan and Jacob and myself. And that after that, the 3 of them were taken. We were all charged. We were all charged with multiple charges. I think I was hit with 3. They were all hit with 4, at least 4 charges apiece.
Okay. Film the whole thing.
Yeah, I will.
How do you spell fraudulent?
What's that?
Fraudulent.
F-R-A...
F-R what?
F-R-A-U-D-U-L-E-N-T. Fraudulent.
I really have to go. I have to get started. I've lots of things I'll have to do. I want to tune into this because they have, some of them up there. I want to hear what they have to say.
J-U-D-I-C-I-A-L. F-O-R-E. C-L-O. S-U-R-E.
Can you hear me? Excellent. I hope you're enjoying a good beginning of spring day. I hope you're enjoying your lunch. This afternoon we have a special guest who's here visiting with us, although he is such a good friend to Hudson Guild, and I'm sure that you all know him. He is like a regular here. So I'm going to jump right in. I want to introduce to you the man who is now the comptroller of the whole city of New York. So he'll tell you a little bit about what that is, and our former Manhattan Borough president and great friend, Scott Stringer.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Ken. And I'm so glad to be back at Hudson Guild with all of you now. I violated my own rules because you never speak during lunch. So I'm going to do my best. This is a new challenge. But I'm really glad to be here, and I wanted to tell you about the program we're going to have in the next few minutes. And it's our effort with AARP to deal with the issues of senior fraud. Not every crime against seniors is physical. A lot of these crimes are financial, taking advantage of our seniors. And AARP has really developed what I think is an excellent protocol and an excellent presentation to help each and every one of you protect yourselves. In this ever-changing world, we have to be more vigilant to protect the seniors who gave so much to our city. So I will tell you, we kicked off this AARP collaboration in all 5 boroughs, and I have to tell you, it's been very successful. So as you're eating or after you're eating, Brenda is the all-encompassing knowledge base of how to protect yourself. And she's done a great job in the other town hall meetings we've had, and I'm so glad that Ken was able to help us set this up. Hudson Guild provides so many services to so many people, Chelsea and Hell's Kitchen. It's great to be able to give something back. Now, I want you to know I've had some experience with ARP. You know who they are? So when I turned 50, everything was fine. And then I got my ARP card in the mail. And then I got married. And then I had a baby who's now 2. And I have my little Miles who's 10 months old. So I want you to know once ARPs sent me that card, I started getting moving. And I tell you that because so much of what ARP does is really prepare us for the best years. And I feel it a little bit every day. So without further ado, are we going to start? Or are we going to?
He's going to leave. Questions. Yes, we have questions.
Okay.
Questions. They ask questions.
So what are we doing here? Okay. Well, let me quick. Does anyone have any questions for me? I want you to know the money's in the bank. Pensions are doing fine, okay?
I have a problem with foreclosure fraud, non-judicial foreclosure fraud. When you go into housing court on this stuff, the housing courts don't follow the law, and they go along with the bank fraud and the landlord fraud, and they do nothing for the person who's been defrauded.
We're going to certainly help you with your problem, and I thank you. Can you help us with this?
Okay.
And we're certainly going to help.
Okay, Scott Stringer has now been served with paperwork that's going before the housing court May 14th. We consider this service done in public to be an important service about addressing the issue of non-judicial foreclosures, which are illegal in the state of New York. This is a very important issue. Thank you, Scott Stringer. Thank you very much.
We're happy to see your papers and with your questions. So without further ado, somebody who's worked very hard on all these issues.
Thank you, Scott. It's a pleasure to do this in conjunction with the Stringer's office because they are really concerned about you all. Not just with the money for the whole city, but with us as seniors. And I want to thank Dan Capitulates, who is here at your center, and Marina Alteza, and Truckers. These are all people who have helped us come here for you. Now I have a question for you, okay? Listen up. I just heard from this gentleman. How many of you have had identity theft or fraud happen to you?
Yes! Identity theft and fraud.
So that's 4 people. Now I have to find people. I have to tell you, 6, 7. Oh, we're here in Manhattan. I love you guys because we speak up and say, I've had it. I'm not going to take this anymore. In Brooklyn a couple of weeks ago.
Scott, I want you to know that the comptroller of the currency, Vance Packard in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
No, he knows. He's on the board of Manhattan Neighborhood Network at one time. So you're not the only comptroller. Vance Packard in Washington, D.C. has also been informed of this fraud. We are the victims of fraud. You've been informed.
And get watchdog alerts, stay up to date on the economist's latest tricks, and talk to a real live person.
Hi, how are you? Good morning.
I see you have a green building. That's good.
This is 4 years ago.
4 years ago. It says U.S. Green Building Council, LEED Platinum. What does that mean that you passed?
LEED
Is it an extra special star for
leadership in engineering, environmental engineering and design.
Oh, how wonderful.
That's their organization.
Do you have a famous designer like Frank Lloyd Wright?
I do not believe so. But this is the greenest building, the greenest structure court in the existing building in the world.
Really? And who's responsible for that?
Ma'am, can I help you?
Yeah, I'm doing a public access television show on the banks of New York.
Okay.
Is there a problem with that?
No, I'm just asking you if you have a problem.
No, I have no
okay?
problem. Yeah, everything's
Great.
fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And who are you? You don't want to tell me?
Are we recording this?
Yes, I'm a public access producer on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, Channel 34.
Thank you.
Oh, heavy vibes here.
Please don't film the building for security reasons, ma'am.
Did you know that anything in the public can be filmed?
I know, but if they don't want you filming the lobby, please.
Who's they?
Okay. The building management, please.
Who's the building manager?
Ma'am.
Could I speak to him?
No, ma'am.
I'd like to know.
Please turn off the camera. Please turn off the camera.
We're on public property. Okay. Are you working for the public or for the bank?
That is none of your business.
Who owns the pub? It's none of my business? What's your badge number?
Right there.
So it's none of my business as a member of the public. Whose
Please
business is it?
Please do not film the front of the building, ma'am.
Hey, man, I don't know
They
what
have
the
asked
attitude's
you.
about. Could I speak
They
to a
have
public
asked you
relations?
nicely. No. They
No
have
public
asked you
relations?
nicely. No.
Who is they have asked me nicely?
If you want, you
Who
call
has asked me
1-800 Chase.
nicely?
I have asked you nicely.
You have. Okay,
Yes, I
because
have.
you said they.
I said, ma'am, please don't film
I have
the
it
building.
recorded.
That's fine.
Okay,
You
where
say,
were you
I
going to
asked
send me?
you- I says, you call 1-800 Chase, okay?
No, I don't want to call 1-800 Chase. Here I am
fine.
at the source.
They have
I'm
the
looking for
building
Jamie
management-
Dimond.
Okay, that's fine.
Does
He's
Jamie
not
Dimond
right
live
now.
here?
He is not here right
But is he the bank president?
now. Yes, he is.
He is. And this is his main office, not 530 Fifth Avenue.
Oh, that I don't know. But this is
Because
one of his
I was sending all my paperwork to 530. And I went over there and they sent me over here. I had no idea I would
The
get this
building
kind of
management
reception.
policy is
I mean,
please don't film the.
I'm
please
doing
don't film the building.
I'm
okay?
doing
That's
a
all.
photo thing.
That's fine. And you're saying the building's policy is.
Do you
please
know
don't
how
film
many
the
people
lobby.
film my building in Gramercy Park when the city rents out
your
licenses
building-
and I am
your
herded? You know,
building has
now
their
you're
own
making me
policy.
really upset. My building gets big bucks, and I don't know who gets the big bucks, but it's certainly not people who are paying the maintenance in the building. You know what? I didn't even think about. Actually, thank you. You actually helped me.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you very much.
You're welcome.
They just told me that even the sheriff cannot get in this building. So all the people that are passed there for security, you have to be in this empire that even the sheriff is not allowed into. Holy moly. Well, that was something I hadn't expected. I mean, I didn't expect to be shown into Jamie Dimond's office. You know, I thought at least I needed an appointment. But I certainly didn't expect that a building like this in the heart of New York City is impenetrable, even by the sheriff. This is kind of shocking, but it kind of shows you the power of proof of service and the power of a human, well, I shouldn't say human being, because in law, human being means an animal. And as I told you in other shows, human resources means managing human capital. Human capital. But if you don't want to be human capital, and you don't want to be considered an animal, you can step up to the plate of your responsibility as a living, breathing, flesh and blood living soul. And you can do things like serve bank presidents. And they know the power of this, and that's why you have essentially an impenetrable fortress. Now, I wonder how many J.P. Morgan traders, I think there's been about 20 of them, that have jumped off of buildings. Now, most of the public is led to believe that they jumped out of buildings because they made some bad bets that day, that they were traders. But I know of at least one article that I read. One of them jumped from a location that he had no access. He had no access to the roof from which he was supposed to have jumped. Now, I don't know if this is happening here in New York City, but can you imagine if 20 traders have jumped off of buildings or been pushed off of buildings or been suicided? What kind of message does that send to hundreds and hundreds of other employees who know the goods on financial malfeasance? And what are we, the public, going to do about that to support the good people who are working in many institutions so that they can come forward and say what's actually going on so we can really clean up our economy? And thanks to Jackie Kennedy, or Onassis maybe by that time, she saved Grand Central Station from going the way of Penn Station. That's what you have when you have greedy developers just destroying all of the legacy and the history. Stay tuned.
Are you selling these?
Yeah.
Can you explain what they are?
They're chocolates.
They're chocolates? Did you make them?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
My goodness, look at this. How did you get that guy to have a face like that?
They're shapes.
They're shapes. Was it hard to do?
No.
Where did you learn how to do such a thing?
We just thought about it.
You thought about it?
Yeah.
You're kind of awfully creative.
And what are these little things here?
They're samples. You can have one.
They're what?
They're tasters. You can.
Oh, samples.
You can try one.
Oh, all right, I'll try one.
And this looks like it comes from an island in the South Pacific. Do you know what these are?
They're from...
Tikis?
Yes.
Tikis, huh? Who told you, your mom or your teacher? Right. How's business been?
We just started.
Yeah. How much are they?
50 cents each.
Okay.
50 cents each. I think we should get one.
Which one should we get? What are your favorites?
I don't know. There's a lot of really good ones. The flavors are over there.
What's that? What'd you say?
Flavors are over there.
Oh, the flavors. Butterscotch and cinnamon, bubblegum, coconut, vanilla.
There's
Lovely
a
hazel.
couple pages.
A couple pages. Dark chocolate. Gosh, there's so many choices you don't even know.
From Easter Island.
Right, Easter Island.
You want the white or the dark? White. What about that combination?
We're going to get two here. 50 cents for me and 50 cents for Herb.
Okay, two.
I want this one.
Sweethearts, how much are they?
50 cents each.
50 cents, okay.
You pick one.
We're gonna get two also. Here's $1.
Change?
We're at two. Okay, so it's 50 cents each? Okay. Which one then? I want to get this. And then get one of the other ones. What about you? You want anything? Get anything you want, sweetie.
Oh, she's got a cash register.
Look at that.
Doing it right.
Look at that way. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
This is butterscotch. I don't like butterscotch. Okay, we get one more. Handmade by wonderful cooks. Candy cooks.
Bye, wonderful cooks.
Thank you.
Hey, you've got
How you
pink.
doing again?
You've got pink chocolate since we've been
And
gone.
purple now.
Who invented that one? They're beautiful.
Are you guys doing a good business here?
Yeah? How many did you sell? Or you don't count?
We don't count.
I didn't see you earlier. You joined in?
I'm just their friend.
You're just a friend? Do you like the chocolate?
Yeah, they're
Did you,
really good.
did you help make it? No. Just only you two are the cooks, the bakers? So did the Parks Department come by and ask for your license? You don't need a license, right? Yeah. Very good. Happy Mother's Day.
It was very good. I enjoyed it. They make very good candy.
Yes. It's only 50 cents.
Yeah, I know. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's nice.
I'm trying to remember where the stone heads come from again.
Oh, it's the Easter Island.
Easter Island. I couldn't get Easter out.
Right.
Island, the Ring Island, Foot Island. I can't get the island.
Did you call your mom?
Yeah, of course.
Say Happy Mother's Day.
The
All
first
right.
thing I did when I woke up this morning.
All right.
The first one I called, then the second mama there.
Oh.
Enjoy yours. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day. Lemonade stand when I was little. It was like a nickel for a glass, and
Yeah, me too.
And it's so rewarding, you know. You just feel so good about yourself. I'm glad they didn't get busted.
Yeah.
Maybe they did it right.
I wonder where their mother is.
Isn't that cute, their little gloves? Okay, here we have Lydia Radin, who's the producer of Crooked Doctors, and she was our assistance of counsel. Lydia, what was it like to be up front close?
All right, I was in court today, and we're in Manhattan Landlord-Tenant Court, 111 Center Street, with Judge Hahn, who recused herself, and then we went and talked to Judge Ann Katz. And I'm not of counsel, but you are permitted to have the assistance of non-attorney friends. So I was helping you, I was your secretary, I was your assistant, I was providing help as a non-attorney friend, which, by the way, Chief Judge Jonathan Littman has said was okay to do. Okay? So here's my advice to you. Judge Katz, Judge Ann Katz, and Judge Hahn have told you that you're right. Okay, you're in the wrong forum. So what happened originally was there was, as explained to me and upon information and belief, there was an improper sale or an illegal sale, and then
non-judicial foreclosure, which is illegal in New York.
A non-judicial foreclosure that's illegal in New York. So your property was transferred illegally. Your co-op apartment, the shares in your apartment was transferred illegally, and then stemming from that, they're now trying to have you evicted. And the judge here, Judge Ann Katz, has said you're in the wrong forum. So she's telling you that in effect, you already have a ruling. So she's saying you have 5 weeks. I'm giving you 5 weeks. Judge Hahn had already ruled that the opposition had put in papers that was untimely. So they're giving you 5 weeks to resubmit your reply, to resubmit your papers. But originally, the sale was illegal. The transfer of your property was illegal. And then stemming from that was the eviction. So now you're in landlord-tenant court, and the judges are agreeing with you. They're saying, we have very limited jurisdiction. You're in landlord-tenant court. You're in the wrong forum. So go make an application to be in the right forum. So the judge, in effect, Judge Katz, and I found her very reasonable, said, make an application to be in the right forum. Right? This is not where this should be happening. So in effect, she has vindicated you. She said you were right. This is what I would recommend. When you put in your reply, I would put in a reply that says Judge Katz has already agreed that we're in the wrong forum. I'd put an application to reopen my case in the higher court in the right forum. I would get a one-page letter from legal aid to back you and the judge up saying, yes, this is the wrong forum. And your husband, Joe Barton, is a decorated Vietnam War veteran. And I would get a single-page letter from the VA saying that Joe Barton is a decorated war veteran who's facing homelessness due to fraud. And please extend Mr. Barton and his wife, Paula Gloria, every courtesy as they argue their case. And I think he'll be successful.
Do you have any comments to make about Judge Hahn on the record or not?
I found Judge Hahn to be very reasonable. However, and you did stand up for yourself very strongly. You let her know that you were going to argue, you were going to be a vigorous advocate, and you had other vigorous advocates. And we had people call Judge Hahn and express concern. She's also a graduate of Yeshiva University, and I think she may be aware that I was being persecuted by Yeshiva University's medical school, and she thought it best to recuse herself. Why she recused herself, she didn't tell us. But once she recused herself, we just got that order and got out of there.
Right. I should have had more presence of mind to ask her why.
Well, you don't really want.
You
don't really want to, because if a judge is giving you what you want, shut up, say thank you, and leave.
She said that right after we said that our opponents are shopping for judges. That was a pretty strong thing to say.
You did. Joe Barton and Paula Gloria did advocate for themselves very strongly, and they knew the judges knew that you were going to fight back. They knew that you were going to fight this. And when you started saying they're judge shopping and they're forum shopping, the judges agreed with you. You are in the wrong forum. But you're in the wrong forum because you're allowing this railroad train to keep going. So
by not starting an action or continue an action in the right forum, which I intend to do now.
Right. So you need to be in the higher court and discuss how this was a non-judicial foreclosure, which is illegal, so you can stop everything else. And they're giving you the opportunity to do it. So that's what I think you're okay. So.
Okay. How's your case going, Lydia? What's going on with Lydia Radin? Because, the producer of Crooked Doctors is no small force to contend with.
No, my case is going pretty well, and but I'm going to give you the advice, Paula Gloria, that I gave you off camera. Just win your case, and when you win your case, then you can save the rest of us.
Okay. Thank you, Lydia.
Thanks. Bye. Put us on camera. Okay. Joe Barton is very reluctant to talk about the Vietnam War, and he's very reluctant to let people know that he is a decorated Vietnam veteran. And he's facing homelessness today because of fraud. You need to tell people this, okay? I know you're not, the military...
I am not proud of what we did. And even though they gave me medals, I don't feel like I deserve medals for killing people that were, innocent people.
But that's not the point.
We weren't just
But that's not
killing the enemy.
We know that you're in emotional turmoil because of that. Every military personnel understands that. The bottom line is you were given orders, you followed them. Even though you disagreed with them, even though they caused you a lot of heartache, they respect them. So even though you don't have peace of mind, you have a lot of respect for people who understand that. You were given an order and you followed it. You did your duty.
But now we have to heal the veterans that are coming back. We have to take responsibility because we can't hold our politicians in check, because we can't make the judges give us due process. This fraud continues, right, Joe?
But let's win your case. Let's win your case. So I think you need to get a letter from the VA that says Joe Barton is a decorated Vietnam veteran who's facing homelessness because of fraud, and you should be extended every courtesy in the courts and given every opportunity to make your case. Because at the end of the day, you did your duty. You weren't happy.
Well, isn't that what we're asking people to do now, Joe? Do their duty, show up in court, fight them back, standing up.
Yeah, we're asking people to do their duty and stand up and support us in court.
So that people won't go to war, right?
Right. And to support all the veterans.
Yeah, because there's so many homeless vets right now, so many of them.
So when you're fighting to keep your home because you're fighting fraud that reaches into bank fraud and all kinds of other horrible fraud, which you'll get a chance, you should be extended every courtesy. I would get a letter from...
Well, we're just asking for due process. We're not asking for mercy or, any kind-hearted judge.
Yeah.
We're just saying, hey, there's no motion. Arlene Hahn, I did not accept her explanation.
Forget about the motion. There was a non-judicial foreclosure, which is illegal in New York. So how they got that ruling in the first place, I want to find out about that. But right now,
they never got a ruling. That's what non-judicial means. There's no ruling.
Right.
I stand corrected. But I mean, how did they get away with that?
That's what that's why we stand up.
It. And they have never given us any paperwork to explain what the fuck they did, how they did it.
Okay, so that means
Paperwork that we have been asking for years.
So that means you need to drag them into a higher court and make them explain how they took your property, your shares in your co-op from you. How did they? You know, of course they don't want you to understand.
Right.
But and landlord-tenant court is a court of very limited jurisdiction. So they got this. I don't know how they got this. They took your property from you, and now they're going down the next step, which is to get you evicted. But the judges here today said you're in the wrong forum. We don't have jurisdiction. Make an application to reopen
And we
your case.
want a jury trial, but they're trying to say we had a proprietary
I think you
lease.
can wait. I think you can win way before the
going
jury
off
trial.
on stuff
Yeah.
that's unnecessary with that.
But eventually we want a jury trial.
Yes, in the Supreme Court.
Right.
Yeah.
Where it belongs.
Right. In the higher court, not in landlord-tenant court. I don't think it's even going to get to a jury trial, even though you demand one. I think they're going to admit that, you know, when you start asking, how did this happen, and explain it to me, I think you're going to find out that they committed criminal acts.
Right.
And they'll be asking for the jury trial, not you. So
Right.
I think
So we don't hang them, you mean?
Well,
but I don't think you should hide your light under a bushel. And the fact is, you did serve your country, and you did do your duty, and I don't think you should hide it.
well, I'm not proud of it.
Well, you know, nobody's proud of it.
You know, no, and just like a lot of these veterans are coming back now today, and they did stuff over there, just like we did in Vietnam, that they're ashamed that they did it, and they were put in situations where they had no choice, you know, where you're killing innocent people, you know, and our veterans coming back now are really coming back a mess, just like a lot of the Vietnam veterans. But this Iraq war is even worse on the veterans, because at least the veterans in Vietnam, were in the jungle. When they came back to city life, it was different. It was normal. These guys were over there fighting in the cities. When they come back, they're back in the city. It's harder for them
to adjust,
to step away from it, or to put it behind them, because a lot of the noises and the sounds, like in the jungle, there's different sounds and different noises. You know, these guys were in the city and in urban areas, so they're going to hear cars and they're going to hear this, and it's going to make them remember that shit. You know,
it's harder.
Okay, enough's enough.